Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Super Saturdays. I am Interim Superintendent Dr. Jason DeFalco, and thank you so much for joining me today. I am here with a very, very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Kerry Purcell, and I'm honored to be here with you today, Jason. I'm really excited about what we're going to talk about today, and I can't wait to get started.
Awesome. So with that, our friends and families that are tuning in from home probably noticed that this edition is a little bit different than our past episodes in that we are doing a virtual interview. Normally, I'm in the studio downtown with our guests, but today, our very special guest, Kerry, is joining us from a very far away and usually warm place, although I'm not too sure how warm it is today. So I won't tease just in case it's chilly down there, Kerry.
Yeah, right.
But
80 degrees.
Burn, you just did it. Carrie's joining us from Florida, where she's based out of. So we are lucky and blessed to have some time with Kerry today, who is going to talk with us about a very important topic, which is our up-and-coming Marlborough Public Schools strategic plan and portrait of a learner. And so our family and friends tuning in, concerned or worried, we are currently operating on what is the very tail end of our current strategic plan. And if you had an opportunity to tune into our school committee meeting where we were talking about the goals for this current school year, you heard me talk about the what, the how, the whole child in the community, and really wrapping the community and their time, efforts, and talents around our students to help them be the successes that we know they are and that they can be each and every day. And so Kerry is helping us to really extend that good work and capture the voice of our community at large and across the city of Marlborough, and really helping to shape, Kerry, right, like where we're going next with our strategic plan and our portrait of a learner. So with that little mini intro, I'm going to just jump in if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, Kerry, can you share a bit about your overall philosophy for leading a district-wide strategic planning process? Because you do this work all over the country. You're at the helm of many school systems leading these efforts to develop these plans and putting in the really important next steps for students, for staff, for educators, for families. So talk to us a little bit about how you come to that work.
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to. Before I tell you our philosophy, what our philosophy is, I want to talk about what our philosophy is not. So our philosophy is not that we sit in some office somewhere and use all these big words and develop a 300-page strategic plan and say, hey, here's what you need to do next. But rather, our philosophy is that we look at the strategic plan, the actual document itself, as sort of your GPS. And I think, Jason, what you said a few minutes ago, that GPS is the extension of taking a district or an organization from where it's at that very moment to the very next spot. And so for us, our role is to be a guide in that process. We're the people who do the data collection and organize it for you so that it's easy to look at and talk about. We are the people who take all the information from the forums and the listening sessions and connect the dots for the big ideas. We're the people who do all the behind the scenes organization so that the community at large, and I'm talking about students, classroom teachers, admin, paras, bus drivers, the Chamber of Commerce, clergy, business owners, families, everyone has a voice in the process, an opportunity to sit at the table, to really dream big and to clearly define what is it that we want for our schools and ultimately our students tomorrow and down the road. And when we do that, we come up with a document that really is a story, a roadmap, and a place where we can all lean into, because from the very beginning, we've had a voice in that process.
Great. That's a really helpful overview. I'm curious if you could speak a little bit about kind of another part to this strategic plan, because the strategic plan, I think a lot of families, a lot of our educators have heard of it, are aware of it. But there's sort of a kind of a second piece to that, and we refer to that as the portrait of a learner. I'm just curious if you could kind of touch on that a little bit, and kind of what it is and how you define a successful portrait of a learner at the end. Like, how do you know you met the mark?
Yeah, great. I love that. And I just want to say out loud, when we were planning this work together, I was so impressed with MPS's desire to start with the portrait of a learner as opposed to starting with the strategic plan. And the reason why that's so impressive and so important is because that means that the community believes that the portrait of a learner is the North Star. That is the destination we are going to. And we know it's successful when everybody can talk about it, when it's the way we do business, when it clearly defines the competencies we want for all students, what we want them to know and be able to do in the classroom and beyond. It's inclusive of everyone. It meets the mark for students who choose to pursue many paths, from college to career or whatever that might be post-graduation. Again, we believe that a portrait of a learner is not a piece of paper, a poster that hangs in the hallway, but it serves as the North Star, the way we do business, and it's most successful when we see it in practice every day through words, actions, and deeds.
Yeah, I love how you frame that, because it's sort of that anchor document that everything is connected back to. And so you started to talk with us a little bit. You've learned quite a bit about Marlborough Public Schools, and I know you've already started a real thorough review of our documents and really getting a sense of who we are as a school district. And we're a very diverse community. That is such a gift to us as a school system. But knowing that, and knowing that we'll have a range of perspectives, how do you ensure that, our students, our families, our staff, our community partners, all of our agencies have meaningful opportunities to contribute to this process? Like, how do we get their voice involved? Because that's something that is so important to me in this next iteration.
No, and we agree with that 1,000%. We believe everyone's voice matters and counts, from the beginning to the launch to the implementation and beyond. And so we start really early, and you're going to see us, sharing information out here come December for people to be involved in whatever way makes sense for them. But again, going back to, it's not just about talking to a certain group. It's about ensuring all people, all groups, all organizations, from students and all of those people that we talked about earlier, have a chance to be engaged and involved in sharing their voice, their thoughts, their wishes, their hopes, and their dreams. So we do that through several ways. So number one, what's pretty typical for people is, they're going to get a survey, and we're going to ask you to fill out that survey. That's one mechanism, but we know that that's not enough. And so a second opportunity that will happen here really early on is creating space, small spaces for people to come in, and we'll just have listening sessions. We'll just listen to learn and understand. We will take all of that information with us to the next part of the strategic planning process, but we'll do that with various groups at multiple times of the day at different locations, whatever works to make sure people have a seat at the table. Then, once we've sort of gathered all of that initial information, we have another opportunity, and we call it a steering committee. And we want the steering committee to be comprised of people from throughout the entire community who we will invite to come together 4 or 5 times throughout this process, to sit with us, to roll up our sleeves, and to do the work of taking all this information and turning it into a portrait of a learner and a strategic plan. So that's another opportunity. Then once that sort of gets into draft mode, we're going to put that back out to the community, and we're going to ask for feedback, because we know that, we may be pretty much on point, but we're going to want some really good feedback about how we can make this a more useful document or documents for the organization. And then finally, we will want the community to be involved in helping us figure out how to launch this. So again, that these things don't become just things that sit on the shelf, but it becomes our North Star and a roadmap that will help us get to that North Star.
Love that process. It really does capture all individuals that need to be part of it, from the families to community partners to students, so our educators, of course. So thank you for sharing that. One of the pieces that's really important to us, and I know it's important to you leading this work as well, is this idea of equity and really incorporating equity into the strategic planning process, into the portrait of a learner. How do you do that? How do you make sure that equity is represented throughout not just the process, but the final product itself?
Yeah. Well, we don't look at equity as an add-on. We look at as part of the work, right? Because we truly believe that this work is about all means all. We believe that when we're thinking about students, it's about every student, every day, in every classroom, no exception. And so right now, while we're looking at the data, we're looking at areas of opportunity to further engage, involve, make people feel welcome, they belong, we're meeting their needs, their voices matter and count, we're building on their strengths and opportunities, and we're really making this an inclusive, connected part of the work. When it becomes a separate section, then that's how we approach it. It has to be infused and part of the process from beginning to end and the way we do business upon execution of that portrait of a learner and strategic plan.
So it's just the lens through which you're looking, right? Through the entire process.
That's right.
Which makes sense. And I've seen strategic plans or different portraits of a learner or portrait of a graduate. And equity is like a piece, or it's like a pillar or a thread, they're going to pick the word. What I'm hearing you say is equity is actually going to be embedded throughout the entire process and document itself.
Yes, threaded through every piece, part, conversation, product, what have you.
That's great to hear. So let's kind of go to the other end of the process. So all of this good work has happened. Community has given feedback. We've got a really strong working draft. We're ready to go kind of live and launch it. You and I are both teachers. We've both been principals. We were in leadership roles. How do you make sure that the document isn't just in a binder on a shelf? Because I think we've all seen that, right, in our work. And people are like, yeah, we've got a strategic plan or, a portrait of a learner. I think it's like you said, kind of hanging on the wall over here, or it's in a binder somewhere in someone's office. Like, how do we actually bring that to life so that it actually takes root?
Yeah, so we actually really think about that from the beginning. That's why we're so intentional about having everyone at the table, because when I see myself in the plan, or when I see myself as a student in that portrait of a learner document, I am more apt to lean into that work. So it becomes less about being a thing and more about something that I can really get behind, or like I said, see myself in. But also, when we think about this idea of now that we've launched, how does it become the way we do business? We believe our job is to work ourselves out of a job by equipping and empowering those who will be using this or leaning into the strategic plan of portrait of a learner, giving them what they need to do that. So creating opportunities for people to just peruse the plan, creating opportunities for people to think about how do we invest in this? What can we do as a community partner to lift up this piece of the work? How do we utilize our professional learning opportunities to build capacity in people to understand the what, the why, and the how? So the more we engage people in sort of onboarding that and gaining confidence and awareness and investment in that, the more this becomes just the way we do business.
Yeah, I love that. You make it the work, right? It's just the anchor, the focus. Makes sense.
Yes. And also, Jason, really this idea of communicating this relentlessly. Like we don't just talk about it once and done. It's part of our message on social platforms. We're bringing updates to the school committee. We're infusing it into our school improvement plans. It just becomes the thing that drives the work.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, and you've sort of touched on this, but if we go a little bit deeper into it, I'm curious to hear about this idea of kind of like customization and fit, right? So, Focus Schools has an incredible reputation of doing just amazing work across the country, frankly, and in many districts in Massachusetts. But Marlborough is not many districts in Massachusetts, right? Like we're our own unique place. And so one of the things I'd love to hear a little bit about is that customization piece. And how are you thinking about kind of tailoring the process to our unique context and culture and in our needs in MPS, kind of separate and apart from everybody else's?
Yeah. So that's a really good question. And we really do, Jason, pride ourselves, and we are not sort of this shrink wrapped organization where I bring my shrink wrapped binder, take the shrink wrap off, and then off we go because we have this set template. We really pride ourselves in becoming part of the organization and understanding the organization's strengths and the organization's opportunity. And we work in collaboration. We work very closely with the superintendent, the school committee, and the steering committee because they represent all the people that are part of the community. And because we really listen to understand, we build that customized plan, strategic plan, and that portrait of a learner based on exactly where Marlborough Public Schools is at that very moment. We pride ourselves in finding the strengths, finding the opportunities, and then taking that and saying, where do we need to go next to better serve every student in our district every day, no exceptions. So I could send you every one of the strategic plans that we've developed, every one of the portrait of our learners that we've developed, and they will all look different. But at the heart of all of them is the same thing. And that is we insist that every plan is about, in fact, serving students and nothing more than that.
Love it. Every student, every day, no exceptions. That's it, right? That's our reason for being. That's why we're here and doing what we do.
That's why we drive into the parking lot every day.
That's right. Kerry, I'm so grateful for your time today. Is there anything else you want to add? If I'm a parent and I'm listening in or a community member, how do I get involved in this?
Well, be looking for communication, which will share some opportunities. We believe the more the merrier. We don't have a cap. If we have 100 people on our steering committee team, excellent. The more you can get involved, be involved, we're going to create those pathways and those opportunities for you. Because again, I just want to go back to our belief. Every voice matters in this process. It's going to take all of us working together to take Marlborough from where it's at this very moment in time to the next place. You are poised for great things, and we really, really look forward to this opportunity to be of service to you. We also, Jason, I think you know this about me, we welcome feedback, so we are not afraid to pivot or make quarter turns to best serve you, and we will promise to exceed your expectations.
Absolutely. No doubt it. And to our families, we will run my email at the bottom here. And if you are interested, or again, not just our families, but our community members, if you're interested in getting involved, reach out at any time. We certainly are looking to, as Kerry shared, get as many voices at the table as we can. There'll be opportunities if you can't join a steering committee, but you actually just would love to sit in and give some insight and have a conversation about how the schools are doing from your perspective or what direction in which you'd like to see us move. We have had a couple of coffee and conversations. We're going to continue continuing that really good work in collecting feedback. So would encourage folks to attend one of the upcoming sessions or like I said, send me an email. But Kerry, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for taking on this incredibly important work and partnering with Marlborough Public Schools and with our community. And we're really excited to see where this goes and promise that you will come back and do an update to the community.
Absolutely. I was just thinking I'd love to come back again in about February to give an update, and then a couple of months later, and then come back when we're ready to launch. So invite me anytime.
Perfect. And with that, we'll wrap up. And until next time, folks, thank you so much for joining us.